Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the League of Women Voters Candidate Forum. It's finally here. We're so excited that you came out tonight, and we want to express our values as the League of Women Voters for many, many decades of conducting candidate forums that are fair and balanced and inclusive and nonpartisan on our part. We do not support candidates, but we do get involved on issues and we take stands on these issues. All of the candidates who are in contested races were sent letters inviting them about a month ago, inviting them and showing them what the format would look like for this evening. After that, we let a couple of weeks go by and we sent some emails, we sent a few postcards, made some calls. And so that's the effort that we made to get people to participate in our forum here tonight. We believe that as part of our mission to support democracy is to have an informed electorate. And, you know, we all can see, we can look up things online, especially the League of Women Voters 411 Voter Guide is very helpful about candidates. You can watch some canned videos online about people's stand. You can see posters on walls. You can see yard signs. But the important thing of hearing people speak and answer questions that are put together. And we really think that that's the real value of a candidate forum. The co-sponsors with the League of Women Voters tonight are the NAACP and the Highland College Leadership Institute. So this team of members from those three groups put together these questions, and they are issue driven and they are targeted directly to the office for which these candidates are running. So since we have quite a large group here tonight, we have divided it up into a format that our moderator, Jim Winker, will explain to the candidates and take us through that very clearly. We also want to mention the candidates were invited to bring some campaign literature, and it's on the back table, so feel free to peruse that. Also in the hallway where you came in and got a name tag, there's information from the League of Women Voters about our other programs, and there are also the get out the vote information thing, dates on voting. There are even voter registration forms out there, whether you want to get a vote by mail ballot, or if you want to go in and early voting starts this Thursday already. So this is all very exciting. Okay, so we're getting ready to bring up Mr. Winker. He's a longtime colleague of several of ours from Freeport High School, teaching in the social studies department, and he is very confident, competent, well-spoken gentleman. So let's bring him up now.
Well, thank you very much. Thank all of the organizers for putting this together. The League has done a lot of work in getting the word out and bringing you all together for this forum, and that's a valuable thing in American democracy. We have a lot of different races, and Jennifer, you told me there was a thing highlighted up here. Where is it? It's a secret. It's over there. Okay, you took it. Okay, we want to take an opportunity to introduce all of the people who, or at least mention their name, and many of them are here, but they're running unopposed. And so we're going to have District C come up while we get ready. But I want to read all of the names of the people who are running for office in our region. For U.S. Congress, we have Esther Joy King and Eric Sorensen running. For Stevenson County Sheriff, running unopposed, is Steve Stovall. For Treasurer, we have Stephanie Helms. I think she's here in the back. Coroner, Todd Welch. Circuit Court, Chanel Bardell. And then we have in County Board District B, there are two candidates running for two seats, Ronnie Bush and Samuel Newton. In District F, we have two candidates running for two spots, Brooke Deininger Wagner and Larry Yogerst. District H, we have two candidates running for two seats, Nicole Baker and Steve Frick. And and then we also have, well, that's all the unopposed races. So those are people that you should be aware of that are running. Our format for today is with each group of candidates, we're going to give each person a 1-minute opening statement. And then for county board candidates, we will cycle through starting with a different candidate with 3 questions. And then we'll have a 1-minute closing statement. And for the other races, for the county clerk, for judge and state senator, we'll have 5 questions, but we'll follow the same format with a 1-minute opening and a 1-minute closing statement. The League of Women Voters, along with some other organizations, provided me with a list of questions and said, you can ask whatever you want. So I just kind of randomized them and you get what you get. So we're going to start with County Board District C. And you can see our candidates up here. Casey Jacobs Anthony, Deborah Devine. No, I'm sorry. I got to find my sheet. Here we go. Casey Jacobs Anthony and Luann Hayes. Is that right? Well, welcome. Casey, could you give us a 1-minute opening statement, please?
Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Casey Jacobs Anthony, and I am currently running for District C. I have been on the board since 2017 as part of District D, and with the redistricting kind of shifting over a little bit. So I've been excited to go out and meet some of the new community members in the district that's expanded. I've been on the county board and I've learned a lot about the different facets of county, things I never thought even existed. And that's been an exciting opportunity for me. And I want to continue on that journey, to continue learning more and to continue to learn what the community members are wanting to see happen in this county and to continue to advocate for that. I've been an advocate my entire professional life. I work at the Sleazer home, so I've been an advocate for youth that cannot advocate for themselves. And I also coach up at the high school track. So that's been my passion, is advocating. And I want to continue to do that in this capacity. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Hayes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Luann Hayes, and I'm running for Stevenson County Board District C. Ooh, feedback. I was born and raised here in Freeport, Illinois. And after college, I moved away for 30 years to the Chicagoland area. In 2018, my husband Ron and I decided to move back to help take care of my elderly father, Ozzie Stambaugh. After he passed, we decided to stay here and build a life in this welcoming community. It's always nice to come home, isn't it? I'm currently the regional council manager for Birth to 5 Illinois. This is a state infrastructure that has been initiated by the governor's office in Springfield. I am tasked to lead a team to redesign the early childhood education and care, with the focus being around the families and what the families need. I'm also very active in our community. Today, I became the president of the Kiwanis Club, and I'm also on the Stevenson County Senior Center Board and the Library Board of Trustees. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. Well, for our first question, we'll go to Casey Jacobs Anthony, and you'll have a minute to reply. And our timekeepers are up front. The first question is, an elected official is supposed to represent the views of his or her constituents. If you're currently in office, how do you now proactively learn what those views are? If you're seeking a county board seat, how do you intend to proactively learn what those views are? And how do or will you intend to communicate about important issues before, during, and after the decision-making process?
I certainly believe that I am a representative of the community and the district I represent. I receive phone calls from community members on a regular basis, and I take time to talk to them, hear their point of views, whether they're similar or an opposing. I think it's important to always have an educated discussion. I'm also an advocate for community forums or town hall meetings. Since I've been on the board, we had a town hall about Walnut Acres. We've had one about social justice. So using those as opportunities to get public input and to share information also to the public about what's really going on. With the nursing home right now, working with the new administration and the management company out there to have a meet and greet. And so that the community is informed, and that's going to happen actually this Thursday at 5 o'clock out at Walnut Acres. So using opportunities like that to get people engaged, to learn information, to get accurate information, and for the community to be able to share their thoughts as well, I think is a vital and necessary part of democracy.
Okay, Ms. Hayes.
I've learned that first we need to listen. We need to listen to what our constituents are saying. We listen to their story, and then we tell their story. And by telling their story, sometimes we can change the story. And that is where we begin, by listening, telling, and changing. I'm a marketing person. I have no problem speaking in front of a group. I would love to be able to get my constituents together. I believe that social media is actually very crucial to getting the word out and to making people aware of what's going on, as well as in person. I don't want them to think it's just somebody representing them on the board. I want them to know who I am and what I believe in and how I can help them. And whatever way I need to do that, we will get that job done. I love meeting new people, and I love getting out and hearing their stories. And I look forward to doing that as part of the Stevenson County Board.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Hayes. And this question will go to Ms. Hayes first. At the county level, how can we make Stevenson County a more attractive place to do business?
I love Stevenson County. I moved back here from Chicago. There's lots of people who are doing that. Did you realize that? Our home prices were so good there for a while. They're moving out. This is becoming a bedroom community. I've always said this, that Stevenson County needs a renaissance. It needs new growth. It needs new people. It needs new blood. And I think that my father would tell me we need to bring back the factories. But that's not always the case, is it? The manufacturing is gone. It's gone overseas. We need to embrace the new way of doing business out here. We need to identify that there are people who are working from home and they can work anywhere. So why not encourage the companies to allow for people, to either be based here or people who on their own are coming out here. We have great schools. We have great parks. We have state parks. I haven't even yet to explore all of them yet. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful community because of the people. So we need to put on our best face and encourage people to move out here. Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Anthony.
Economic development is key. When people move to the community, they have to have a job to come to. They have to have a place for their kids to go to school. They have to have things for families to do. And Freeport has a lot of those things in place already. The parks, we have beautiful parks. I know that Greater Freeport Partnership, who the county partners with, they're not just advertising tourism just in a small radius. They're going out and they're trying to promote our area to get people to come here. And those are things that need to continue. And we need to continue to have opportunities for businesses to want to establish here and to put their own business here. Things are happening already right now. Millrace Crossing with Ingrown Farms. That area didn't have anything for a while. And now we have a business out there that is hiring people for a very good wage, and they're talking about expanding. So looking for opportunities to continue to do things like that to encourage people to come.
All right, thank you. And this last question for this round, we'll go to Ms. Anthony. Do you believe that the county board chairmanship should be decided by the voters instead of the board itself?
That's a very good question. How we do it now, for those people who don't know, is it's chosen by the elected county board members. I believe that it should certainly be up to our community just to decide how that happens. I think that it should go to the community. They should decide who their county board chairman is, because there is such a wide range of opinions on the county board, but yet there's only 22 of us now, and there's going to be 16 of us. That's a very small group of people to make that decision as opposed to the community as a whole. So certainly this is something that should be discussed with the community to see what the community would want so they can have a say. But personally, as a community member, I think that it should go to the community should make that choice.
Ms. Hayes?
Every team needs a leader. Every team needs to work together. And every team needs to believe in their leader and the direction which that leader is taking them. If the decision was made on the ballot, there's no guarantee that the people who are representing you and I are going to want to follow that leadership. They're not going to be able to work as a team and get things done because it feels like they were given this leader, but we need to be able to work as a team. Now, do we also need to work better as a team for the county board? Yes, every team can be better, but I feel that they need a leader. They need someone that they choose themselves to represent and to lead the group. And I don't think that that's something that you and I would disagree on. No one wants to work for someone who they don't get along with, they don't agree with, and they don't respect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you'll each have a chance now for 1 minute closing statement. We'll start with Ms. Hayes.
I may be new here, but I don't feel like I'm new here. Growing up here in Freeport and seeing the Freeport that I knew and loved in the 70s and 80s, I would love to bring that back. I would love to represent my constituents on the county board. I just want to do what's right for our community. I just want to make this a wonderful, living, vibrant community again. And whatever I can do to do that, I will do it. I want to put people first. We have to be human. We cannot let disagreements and politics get in the way of doing what's right for each of us, every single one of us. So I'm asking you for your vote tonight. I'm asking you to vote for me to represent you on the Stevenson County Board. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ann.
During my time on the Stevenson County Board since 2017, I have learned a lot. I have learned that it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of conversations, and it takes a lot of working with other people that you might not necessarily agree with, but ultimately you have one job, and it's to make decisions that are the best for the community. And I would certainly enjoy the opportunity to continue to do that. I am currently the chair of the nursing home committee out at the Stevenson Nursing Center, otherwise known at Walnut Acres. And that is what I have spent a lot of my time doing over the past year approximately, working to make sure that that stays in the county hands since the 1998 referendum where a tax levy was established to continue to support it. Most of the calls that I get are from the community to continue advocating for the nursing home. So I would continue that work and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. And that finishes up our candidates for District C. We'll now move on to District D. We'll follow the same format. We have two candidates with us, Jim Hart and Bill Hadley. They're both running for District D seats on the county board. Mr. Hart, we'll start with you with a 1 minute introduction, please.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Jim Hart. Oh, do I turn? It's on. Can you hear me now? Okay. My name's Jim. Pardon? It's about as close as I'm going to get it, I think. I'm running in District D. Had I known there'd be so many people that would have shown up tonight, I would have wore a tie, lost 40 pounds and got some plastic surgery, but here I am. My wife and I have been here for about a decade now. My neighbors are here. I'm sure it seems much longer to them. I've spent my life really studying political science. I have a degree in political science. I've never run for elected office before. I've never felt compelled to do so, but I do now, given some of what I'm seeing in the county. I'm particularly concerned with the nursing home. And the problems that I've seen in terms of the funding, and it just doesn't seem like everybody on the board is interested in keeping the nursing home around. The nursing home has a very interesting history, and the problems it's had are interesting and very related to what we saw with COVID. So I believe it's important to help everybody in the community. So everybody knows I'm a what I would consider a dirt road Democrat, which means I'm very moderate, very independent minded. So I'll probably end up upsetting everybody. But, you know, I really do want to work with particularly Casey, and I want to work with Bill. I'm not much of a party person. But I do believe we're our
All right,
brothers
well-
and sisters keepers. And
Thank you.
that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Mr. Hadley.
Yes, my name is Bill Hadley. At this time, I am the Stevenson County Board Chairman. A little background on me, I was born and raised here in Freeport, Illinois. I worked in the Illinois Department of Corrections for 30 years, retired. And then I been in the military for 22 years, Wisconsin National Guard. 3 deployments, 1 stateside at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 2 deployments over in Iraq as a combat veteran. My leadership skills I got from the military. I carry those leadership skills with me as the county board chairman. And the reason that I'm running again for the county board seat is that I want to continue my great work as county board chairman. This is a great community. I believe in this community. And when I have my last minute, I will talk about some of the accomplishments that I did as county board chairman.
All right, thank you. Well, our first question will go to Mr. Hadley. Has the county board been a good partner in upholding its commitment to the maintenance of the Jane Addams Recreational Trail?
Yes, I believe in the trails. They bring they bring a lot of people to the community. Even when I'm down, sometimes I go and visit the trails and meet with the folks that come. I see that they're from out of town. Some come canoeing, some come biking. And I believe it's an asset to our community. Yes, we do keep up with the trails, the county, the city. We give about each entity, the county and the city and the park district give $16,500 from each entity to keep up with the trails. But we need to go farther. We need to keep up with the other trail and finish that trail, the Perry Path that connects Rockford, Illinois. That means folks can leave from Rockford, Illinois and go all the way up to Madison, Wisconsin. And I believe strongly that we need to be working on that trail also.
All right, Mr. Hart.
You know, honestly, I don't know that much about the trail. I ride a bike about twice a year, as you can probably tell. But as far as I know, it's popular. And I have seen it, and it seems to be in good shape. I know there was some damage recently, some trees or whatever, I think it was, from a county board meeting that I had viewed. And they seem to be very responsive to that. So I'm supportive of it, and it seems like they've been supportive of it.
All right. Well, Mr. Hart, the second question will start with you. How can Stevenson County increase county revenues to fund needed services without raising taxes?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
How can Stevenson County increase county revenues to fund needed services without raising taxes?
Well, that's always a tough one. You have to make some tough decisions as to whether you want another bike trail or what kind of services you want and that sort of thing. Aside from that, I think that we really need to focus on economic development. I think we need to do the things that I'm seeing done in terms of mill race right now and getting more infrastructure out there to bring in employers with good paying jobs. That generates the revenue. Hopefully that's how we can generate the revenue rather than the taxes. As far as the county goes, I believe we have a surplus right now. So I think the money is there for the things that we want to do and should do. And I think it's incumbent upon us to go out and get people to come in that have jobs for people here.
All right, Mr. Hadley, same question to you.
Yes, we're in Stevenson County, we have a challenge. We're under tax caps, PTEL. And it's always a challenge to get the budget in line every year. We can take a slight increase to PTEL, what the state can tell us to do. Yes, I'm always for programs that are very essential to our county and everything. There's always room to cut. I'm a strong believer that we need to hold back money sometimes as county board members and let the elected officials and the department heads come to the county board and say, I need more money for this. This way we get a true picture of how we're spending our money and everything. I'm not for just giving them the money and then elected officials can spend it any way they want to in their line items and everything.
All right, thank you. Well, Mr. Hadley, this question will go to you first. How can the whole county work together to combat crime, gang activity, and personal violence?
Well, we've been doing that. Our planning, not our planning development, but Public Property Safety Committee has been discussing what can we do to work with the city of Freeport. I, as county board chairman, I meet once a month with the mayor, the city manager, and our county administrator. We discuss these things. For instance, the city has got license plate readers. It's been very helpful to the city with these license plate readers because it's helped solve crimes. We are in the process of using ARPA money to get license plate readers also, where the county will have them and the city will have them, and you can compare notes of who's been traveling different directions and everything to solve crime. So we are working together. It's important. I think we need, as a county down the road, maybe looking to hire more deputies possibly to work inside the city of Freeport.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Hart, same question?
Yeah, I like the idea of seeing more county involvement in the city. You know, we're so intermingled here. You can't separate one from the other. And I'm not sure that they've worked together as well as they can, you know, but I'd have to look at what the funding for that is and that type of thing. Moreover, I really think a lot of this, again, comes down to community and economic development. I think if you have a strong economy and you help young people and everybody have a viable job and a viable life and a middle-class existence, that cuts down crime significantly. I don't think we can do this just with more police, but I'd like to see more interaction between county and city.
All right, well, thank you. Well, now it's time for closing statements. We'll start with Mr. Hart. You have a minute?
As I mentioned earlier, I really am a very moderate and independent person. I very much want to work with the Republicans and the Democrats just to make the community better. Again, my other biggest issue right now is I'm very concerned about the nursing home. The more I look into it, the less I understand as to why we're in the situation that we're in. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like something that we couldn't have avoided. But I really respect the people right now that are on the board trying to make that better and rectify that. Again, it was very much a COVID issue, but there's no reason we can't move past that. I just don't understand why we wouldn't want to help all of the members of the community and act like a community. I think we do in many ways, but certainly not in this particular instance.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley.
Yeah, so I've been your county board chairman for the last 10 years. And some of the accomplishments is that being 30 years in the Department of Corrections, I believe in helping people. And, you know, when people get out of prison, they have issues where they can't get jobs. So I've started a program with probation department, returning citizens, job readiness, and I've worked in the community with this program, identified companies that will hire returning citizens. And I think it's a great program. I have at least about 5 companies that will hire. I brought $1.2 million back to Stevenson County by lobbying the governor for the McConnell Road project. I believe as a county board chairman, you got to work across the aisle with everybody in the community and down in Springfield and Washington, DC. And I do that. And my door is open to anybody at any time. I don't care what party you're from, what race you are, you're welcome to my office. I work full-time. I'm in my office from pretty much 10 to 5 each day. And I love my job and I would love to continue. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all very much for this first group of county board candidates. Thank you all for being willing to run. We're going to do a little scene change now. We're going to bring the District E and District G candidate up, please. District E and District G candidates can come up. Everybody can take a little stretch break. Thank you.
Here.
And on an island.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Well, we're going to start out with the 2 candidates from District E, Adam Montereau and Laura Youngblood, and we're going to give them each a 1-minute opening statement. So Adam, you can begin.
Hi, I'm Adam Montereau. Till last spring, you got to read every opinion I had in the Journal Standard, and I hope most of you did. I'm an Eagle Scout, and I let that inform a lot of what I do. I love the outdoors, I love being in nature, and I love taking responsibility with my own hands. That led me to becoming an outdoor educator. I taught outdoor education, high ropes, and team building in 3 different states, and if it wasn't seasonal work, I would still be doing that. Not often you get to work in the mountains of Hawaii. That's why I became the education chair for our local Audubon Society. And I love that, love those activities. Every month I get to be outdoors and teach people about the outdoors. I'm also an indoors educator. I teach here at Highland. I teach a GED class at the high school. And that's how I've tried to make my impression on the community. I'm also a father. I have a 4-year-old. And as someone who grew up here, I want to make sure the same resources that were here for me are here for her.
All right, Ms. Youngblood.
Thank you so much. My name is Laura Youngblood. I am one of 2 Democrat candidates from District E, and I hope to earn your trust to be a member of the Stevenson County Board. I'm a licensed massage therapist, registered nurse, and registered yoga teacher. If you're familiar with me, you may see me doing yoga in my yard. I use my practice as a fundraiser for and within this community. I am not ashamed to ask for a box of pads or tampons in exchange for a class to address period poverty in this community. I believe I can be a voice for healthcare providers on the board. I would like to ensure access and maintenance to resources to encourage a growing and thriving community. Thank you.
All right, well, our first question will start with Ms. Youngblood. How do you view the current county board committees and oversight structure? And do you have any suggestions for changes or enhancements that would help the system work more efficiently?
Thank you very much. I believe that the committees right now on the Stevenson County Board are very fair and they oversee the community in unique and thorough ways. I would like to see the committees open up more to the community to offer education and offer outside input as well. Other than that, I really feel like the committees oversee the community and the county very well.
Mr. Montereau, same question.
The committees seem to be doing well, given the environment they're in. They get the jobs done, The major issue I would have with it is that no one directly knows what those jobs are until they have to know. There's a lack of transparency for a variety of reasons. And how many of the community even knows what committees there are, let alone what responsibilities they have in our everyday lives? I've been able to watch enough of these that I know they're doing their best. They're trying to do what they think is their job. But I think that would only benefit from more awareness and participation and transparency given the citizenry.
All right, well, thank you. Our second question, we'll start with Mr. Modero. How have you or how do you plan to overcome partisanship and actually help people in our community?
Most of the people I've talked to out canvassing, party never comes up. Laura and I have knocked on over 400 doors at this point. Party has come up in a single-digit percentile of that. When you talk about issues as a person, as a member of the community, all of that partisanship goes away if it rears its head at all. That's our first step. We don't have to talk about party, despite what the news agencies would have us believe. We can just talk about issues, our preferences as individuals, and it's amazing how quickly those conversations turn to solutions. If you start with preconceived notions of party and what we assume the other person will do, then of course we hit a wall. But if you present your case simply, let the other person do the same, 30-second conversation turns to solutions very quickly.
The same question, Ms. Youngblood?
I think that at the beginning of the day, we all start a day with the same common goal of trying to work together to build a growing and thriving community. And I think a great way to build partisanship in that, partisanship in that is to just understand and learn from each other, understand what is important for that person, that party to achieve and communicate within the community, as well as just seeing what that common goal is and seeing the common thread that is there to reach the common goal. I think most of the time our actions are that to see the growth and thriving of a community that we can work together. And I think it is possible because we do want to see success.
Okay, thank you. The last question this round will go to you, Ms. Youngblood first. How should the county work with the Army Corps of Engineers, municipalities, and others to remediate flooding issues and repair flooding damage throughout the county?
You've asked a very good question. I work in healthcare, so engineering is a little overwhelming for me, but I really feel like we could use any sort of outside resource to our advantage to work on and address the flooding in this community. It just seems to pop up on us at unexpected times and unexpected ways, and different parts of this county seem to be affected by flooding very strongly. And I really feel like we can work together to create solutions. Me personally, because I am not educated in engineering, I really hope to learn different possibilities and open it up to different techniques and ways to address these issues.
Mr. Monroe, same question.
I'd start by acknowledging that we are surprised by the floods that happen every year in the same locations. So clearly the solutions we've been implementing aren't working, aren't cutting it. We can't just maintain and hope it goes back to the way it was. Unfortunately, there's streets, entire neighborhoods that were put in a place that aren't viable anymore. And I would like to see more initiative and more out of the box thinking when it comes to those solutions. There's new methods of creating infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, neighborhoods, the gamut, that could also benefit our burgeoning biking population, as well as simple commuter traffic, people that would like to walk to work or be able to walk their neighborhood. This is an opportunity to remap a lot of our neighborhoods in those regions and make sure that not only do they not flood again, but they become populated again by citizens enjoying our city.
All right, well, now we're time for a minute closing statement from each of you. We'll start with Mr. Modero.
I've gotten in the habit in the campaign of telling people it really comes down to 3 E's: the environment, education, and equitable opportunity for the future. I told you, I love the environment. That's what made me an Eagle Scout. And the parks around here are what facilitated that. I would love to see this area become not only a gathering place for people that enjoy parks and outdoor recreation, but environmental policies, including environmentally friendly energy collection. We have a tremendous number of opportunities on that front. Education, education, education. I'm a teacher. I've taught in a number of schools, almost all of them in the county. And the opportunities to educate the public, to be transparent with the public, and to spread the educational opportunity should be at the forefront of everything we do. And that transitions into equitable opportunity for the future. Again, it all comes back to my 4-year-old. I want to make sure the same opportunities of this community that were given to me are there for her.
All right, thank you, Ms. Youngblood.
Okay, so I'm running with the mindset of a healthcare provider. So 3 of my main focuses as a county board member would be food insecurity, maintenance to healthcare, and the infrastructure. In a heavily agricultural area, we do have a lot of food poverty here, and I would like to see that addressed. As far as healthcare access, we have to be aware of some of the communities may not be near or have access to medical facilities. And also just keep that in mind as you're maintaining infrastructures within the community and making sure that people have access to those things. I've been lucky enough to have many experiences in my life and travel the world and meet a variety of people. And when I come back home here, I see a lot of potential and possibility. I believe the things that we have in Stevenson County is a good foundation, and I would like to see the resources here grow and thrive.
All right, well, thank you very much. We're now ready to move on to District G. We have one candidate, Mr. Scott Helms. And so, Mr. Helms, you get a 1-minute opening statement, please.
Since I am the only candidate here, can I get 4 minutes? I'll move from chair to chair.
This is why they have a moderator.
If you don't mind, I'm going to stand. I sit all day. My name is Scott Helms. I am a resident of the village of Cedarville. I've been on the Stevenson County Board since 2016, where I've served on the Planning and Development Committee. I've been the chairman of that committee. I've served on the Nursing Home Committee and continue to do so. I was named chairman of Planning and Development in 2017, which put me on the Finance Committee. I was named chairman of Finance in 2018. I am the only candidate in this forum that has stated 3 goals and achieved all 3 goals. I am also currently the county's liaison to the Greater Freeport Partnership. I am the county liaison to the Stevenson County Health Department, also the Northern Illinois Enterprise Zone Committee, and I've also served as the liaison to Soil and Water Conservation District. In my spare time, when I have nothing to do, I'm also the president and CEO of the State Bank of Pearl City. So I dabble in that from time to time. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Quite honestly, I was surprised at the lack of candidates that actually showed up. So I thank all of them that did show up tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. If you're elected to the county board, what would be your top 2 priorities for the upcoming year?
The first thing to do is to finish the Mill Race Crossing project, regardless of how you feel about that. A lot of people don't like it. I was not in favor of it when I was on the Freeport City Council a long time ago, but the fact of the matter is the county owns it. The only way to solve that issue is to get water and sewer out there. A lot of conversation we had tonight was about what you can do with limited funds to continue projects. Cutting expenses is number 1. Okay, but the other thing is growing the EAV. And the only way to do that is to get water and sewer out to Mill Race, where you can create jobs. There are companies right now that are wanting to expand in Stevenson County that if they can't get out there, they will leave Illinois. We also have companies that are interested in coming in. It's paramount to do that.
All right, thank you. This next question, if elected, what would you do personally to foster a spirit of working together among board members for the common good of the county?
The biggest problem I've seen since being on the board for 6 years is there has been no vision, no plan. We are literally sticking our fingers in a dam after it's already sprung a leak. You can't achieve success by doing that. You have to have a vision, you have to have goals, and then hopefully you can get people on board to follow you with that, and you craft a budget accordingly. The budget process is a nightmare year after year because everybody is raising their hand and everybody's got their hand out, but there is no concerted vision. And that is a problem. That's why there's a lot of angst right now at the board, because there's a lot of different people pulling in a lot of different directions, but there's really no leadership.
The last question, other than managing your home finances, what specific financial skills will you bring to the county board that will help manage a multi-million-dollar government?
Well, like I said, I dabble in banking. I've done that for 27 years. I am currently the finance committee chairperson. What I have done since I've been finance committee chair is the first goal I had was to get the county off the disastrous healthcare program that it had since approximately 2012 through, you guessed it, the state of Illinois. It was an incredibly costly plan with very poor benefits. We were able to get that done. Not only get that done, but save the county and the employees over $2 million over 2 years in premium. That's huge. The other thing I did when I got on as finance chair was that we need to refinance the debt for mill race. We need to refinance that debt certificate because interest rates are low. Again, I know a thing or two about interest rates being in banking. By doing that and getting that accomplished, we saved the taxpayers $86,000 in interest expense over the remaining life of those bonds. If you have a vision and you have a goal and you get people behind you, it's really not that difficult, but you have to have that path.
All right, well, thank you. Now it's time for a 1-minute closing statement.
Again, I'm very pleased to be here. I know that it's somewhat contentious from what I've heard from my party about not coming to this event. I don't agree with that, which is why I'm here. I was actually shocked at the number of candidates that came. It's important to get a message out. Whether you like the message or not, you need to hear it. And people need to understand who's running for county board. And I appreciate everybody showing up. You've got tough decisions to make. There's a lot of idealists. I like to tell people I don't have that luxury. I have to be a realist because I'm in charge of the finance committee. It's not a fun job, but it is rewarding when you actually accomplish things like getting off the state of Illinois health plan and saving money by refinancing debt. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much to all you candidates for coming and for running. We're going to do another scene change. I think we have District I. Is that correct? So our District I candidates can come up. All right, well, we're going to follow the same format. We have two candidates, Edward Klein and Shannon Muick. So we'll have an opening statement of 1 minute from Mr. Klein first.
Good evening. I am so glad you all came out tonight. I am just very happy to be in the position I'm in right now to be able to hopefully serve. I almost died a couple of years ago. I got cancer really, really bad. And my wife has brought me back to life. And so I am really excited about doing some more things rather than just retire and kind of go fade to the, to the sunrise. I would like to really accomplish more things. This is a very dynamic community. It really upsets me when I hear negative thoughts about Freeport, because I think, what we have here is amazing. And it is the most important thing is these people we have, and that a lot of them are sitting in this room. We have to just make our community understand that we can work together and we can make this a better place for everyone. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Muick.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Muick, and I am running for Stevenson County Board. One of the reasons why I'm running is because when we first moved to Freeport and I started following the local community, what was going on at the nursing home was extremely upsetting to me. I had a friend from elementary school and she had to move her father 300 miles away from where she lived because the nursing homes between her house and there were all for profit. And I did not want to see that happen here at Stevenson County. So I think the safety net, the fabric of our safety net within the community needs to be stronger. We need to look at each other as though we are family, because in essence, we are. And what affects you negatively affects all of us. Thank you. Sorry, I could have just gone on and gone on and gone on.
Well, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do that right
Thanks.
now because you're getting the first question. And it's a question that you alluded to. Should Stevenson County continue to support and administer a county nursing home? Why or why not?
I think we should, and I'll speak fast. How long do I have?
A minute.
Okay, my grandmother got to stay at home. It cost her $19,000 a month to stay in her own home. My father-in-law went into a nursing home and it cost him $6,000 a month to go into a for-profit nursing home. Every single person in this room is going to need help. If your family can afford a $100,000 remodeling bill to make the kitchen, the bathroom, and the doorways in your home wheelchair accessible, that's great and you're lucky. Most of us don't have that luxury. So I would like to see the fabric within our community stronger in order to support those who need it most. Because the death of a society, nothing I don't think has done more to weaken our community than the words for profit. Utilities for profit, prison for profit, healthcare for profit, education for profit. And we are now the bottom line of a balance sheet. And I think that is hurting us from a society overall. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Klein, same question.
I will second most of what Shannon said. Our healthcare system as a whole in the country is for profit. And if I've done a lot of work on alternative ways to fund healthcare, and there's what they call a single payer system, which basically is what Medicare is. And Medicare should be improved and there should be more funding for it. It should pay for all of our needs. And that's those same principles apply to our nursing home. We have a really amazing facility. If you go out and tour, I would encourage anyone who's not been out there to go out there. We have an amazing new administrator who's been hired, a local administrator. She lives close by and she's really, really dedicated to the staff that's out there. And we have an amazing management company right now that's been hired. And they are doing amazing, I keep saying amazing, they are doing really, really fine work. And so I would encourage anyone to really check into the nursing center and see what's out there. Thank you.
All right, the next question will go to Mr. Klein first. What can be done to improve the diversity of the sheriff's department?
You can't begin in a minute. We have a society that is still doesn't appreciate the contributions of Black people, people of color. And, you know, there is systemic racism, which means the way the system exists today, it favors us white people. You know, like I say, I can't go into it in depth right now, but there are many, many, many studies that have been done to show how the Black race has been, you know, disadvantaged over the years and years. So that has got to be high on our list of priorities to make sure that we're opening all of our, whether it's the sheriff's department or anywhere else, to people of color so that they can hopefully bring that mix way better in balance. Thank you.
Ms. Buick, same question.
Can you repeat it, please?
Oh, sure. What can be done to improve the diversity of the sheriff's department?
Diversity of the sheriff's department. I think it would help to know the reasons why someone wants to become an officer. Some go into the profession because it's an immediate pathway to respect. They get a badge and a gun. Some people go into it because they have a true desire to help within the community. And in order to foster that, whether it's the sheriff's department or whether it's STEM or whether it's medical, is you have to appeal to everyone on the levels that they're comfortable with. So if you have a community of orange people, do you think they would be happiest with white officers, or do you think they would be happiest with orange officers? Who do you think is going to relate better within the community?
Okay, well, thank you. And the last question in this round, I'll go to Ms. Muick first. What can the county do to encourage adaptive and creative reuse of abandoned buildings and brown space throughout the county?
There's great buildings in Freeport. I've noticed that since we've moved here. So we drive by through downtown all the time. That Rawlings building, right? Rawlings. What can that be utilized for? Condos, office space, a community center. We need a county board that looks at abandoned property and says, what can we do with it that benefits the most of the community? Housing is always necessary and vital. Not everyone can afford a house. There are communities all over the country that have actually the same problem. And when you go onto their websites and you see what they're doing, I think those ideas can be incorporated here at Stevenson County, which will generate tax revenue and at the same time eliminate the blight. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel is my point. There are communities out there that are already taking abandoned buildings and making them work.
Mr. Klein, same question.
Excuse me. I'm not exactly, I'm absolutely not an expert on this. I've had my own business. I know what it's like to actually rehab a set of buildings and you know, put the money into it to repurpose them. I agree that with Shannon that a lot of the buildings that are here in this community are very, very good shape yet. Obviously, the longer they stay abandoned, the worse they do get. But one of the things I'm hoping that we can accomplish is actually to move for more cooperation between the city and the county. I believe there's a lot of funds that are available that don't get accessed, and people, you know, things don't happen in a positive way because somehow they don't cooperate. And so that's just something that might help. Certainly, I really think we should be able to repurpose a lot of these buildings. I would much rather see, and I've seen a lot of individuals repurpose buildings and put their own money into it, and amazing work, and wind up with amazing spaces.
All right. Well, we're going to start out end with our 1 minute closing statement. We'll start with Mr. Klein.
I'm really think the possibilities for this community are endless. The community has really changed. You know, there's a lot of businesses that have been closed. A lot of people have moved away, but there's a lot of people here, and we have to, attitude is incredibly important when it comes to what one can accomplish. And if you go into something with a negative attitude and think that we're not going to get anywhere, you don't get anywhere. We really need some motivation that, you know, together as a community, both city and county, we can get together and solve these problems that we have. And nothing's insurmountable. We certainly have got some real issues with crime, and not necessarily all the crime, but there's been murders, and it's like, why in the hell is that ever happening? But we really need, that doesn't get solved by the police department. That gets solved by the community. And we really need to get together and work on that together. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Buick?
I would like to see Freeport become what I see as an outsider. There's terrific people here. There's terrific spaces here. And there's a tremendous amount of opportunity here if we see each other as people and work together from a community standpoint. In order to do that, we have to cooperate and talk to one another about issues and concerns. And the only way we're going to do that is to get people on the county board who want to talk to you, who are interested in the things that you have to say and the experiences that you've had and your vision for your future. Because the things that affect you either negatively or positively, I'll guarantee you they're affecting everyone else. So there is no silver bullet for this. All you can do is elect representatives who hear you and who want to talk to you and who are interested in what you have to say.
All right, well, thank you, both of you very much for being willing to run. And we're going to do a little scene change again. No problem. Thank you. All right. All right. Well, our next race is going to, candidate is Chandra Bland, and she's running for county clerk. I'm sorry. Morris is running for county clerk and recorder, and get a 1-minute opening statement.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
I think.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chandra Morris, and I'm running for county clerk and recorder. The county clerk and recorder's office is very vital to the citizens here in Stevenson County. There are so many pieces that go along with this office that it's going to take someone with experience to continue the job. I currently work in the county clerk and recorder's office and have been working there for the past 14 years. I have been a part of the day-to-day operations, have a good working relationship with some of the other county offices that are also on the 5th floor, be it the treasurer's office, assessment office, and GIS.
All right, well, thank you. Besides elections, what would be the most challenging duty of this office?
There's also land records and DD 214, which is your servicemen and women records. The county clerk and recorder's office is responsible for handling those records by processing those documents and also recording the documents that come in as far as the DD 214s. We need to have a role that we have those for those individuals that file and also come to retrieve those records.
All right. There's a lot of questions about the election of 2020 and whether that was decided legitimately. And how can your office work to strengthen election integrity?
Well, we've been given that question a lot. For those that, I just encourage those individuals that would like to see the process to become an election judge so that you would understand the process and the different avenues of that job that is required at the end of the day. Once those ballots come back, you would see that in process. Because a lot of that is determined by the State Board of Elections on the process and what we have to do in order to make sure that everything is secure and safe.
All right. This is a question that came, a very interesting one. Explain the rules that govern raffles in our county. Who can conduct them? And how do they report to the county clerk?
Well, raffles, different organizations, they have to bring in that paperwork for their raffles. We don't do, the office does not, everything has to be in place when you drop that off. We don't assist you in that.
Okay. All right. Tell us about a time when you worked with a team on a job to accomplish a complex goal and what role you played.
Okay, sure. Well, currently on the land record side, some of the old records, the database needed to be cleaned up due to there being duplicate records. So in order to clean that up, we first had to figure out what was duplicated. Then we were able to tie lots and blocks with those subdivisions in order to make that more accessible to the public, title searchers, land surveyors, and anyone that needed to access those records.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, what are some of the new regulations instituted by the state of Illinois to govern elections? Some new things coming down the pike.
There has been where those that have been incarcerated but not convicted are still able to vote. That's currently, sorry, I'm not always on that side due to the fact that we are shorthanded. So I haven't been able to handle a lot of the election at the moment, only because I'm filling in some of the other areas, but I know that it has one of the questions that has come up.
Okay, well, thank you. That's the 5 questions. Now it's time for a closing statement.
Okay.
You have a minute.
Sure. This position is going to require someone that is experienced and knowledgeable, because once the current clerk retires, business is going to still need to be conducted as usual once she leaves. There's not going to be time for training someone because the day-to-day operations will continue. You have the tax sale November 15th. You need to pay your tax buyers. Tax extensions will need to be due. And there's the primary election, February 28th, along with the consolidated election, April 4th. And all the employees that work for the counties, timesheets will be due. So we need someone that's experienced so that those employees can still continue to be paid. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and appreciate your time, and thank you for coming. Time for another scene change here. I think we're going to Judge of the Circuit Court, 15th Judicial Circuit. Is that correct? All right. I spelled your name wrong?
Yes, it's IE.
All right. All right. Well, Ms. Neiman, you're here running for judge, and you have a 1-minute opening statement, please.
I'd like to. Okay. I guess it's on. Okay, here we go. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters this evening, as well as the NAACP and the Highlands Leadership Institute, and everyone that attended this evening to have this event. I'm Carla Neiman. I'm running for Circuit Court Judge. That covers 5 counties, which is other than Stevenson, Joe Davis, Carroll, Ogle, and Lee. I have 20 years of experience. I started out in the state's attorney's office here in Stevenson County. I did that work for 4 years. And then I went into private practice with Mahoney and Hauser for 10 years. And then I opened up my own office, which I've been doing since 2017. And during that time, I had a 2-year contract with 1-year contract, but 2 years worth of work with the Public Defender's Office, all here in Stevenson County. Why am I running for this position? Well, over the years, I've been asked, why isn't your name on the ballot? Over the years, I've been told that I would make a great judge. So I've done just about everything in my career as far as different offices that I can work with. And it would be fitting for me to be elected into the position of Judge Bald, who is the same person who hired me to come into this, start my career here in Stevenson County.
All right, well, thank you. We got 5 questions. First, do you believe that all citizens have equal access to good legal help in our legal system? What can be done to provide wider and better access?
I know that's been a big question. A lot of the times I get calls at my office all the time indicating that they can't find an attorney to help them or they do not have the funds to do that. So we try to refer them to someone. There are some people that may do some pro bono work. They ask attorneys to do pro bono work, which when I was working in a larger firm, I had a little bit more time and was able to do that. There's also Prairie State Legal Services in Rockford. So once in a while, they will get their help as well. We also have legal assistance here in the Freeport Public Library. So individuals can go and ask for free help there too.
Okay, thank you. Do you believe there's an underrepresentation of women or people of color on the benches of our courts? And if so, how would you go about correcting that imbalance?
Yes, I do believe there's imbalance, and we can correct that by electing me on November 8th. I would further add, in the 15th Judicial Circuit, we have a total of 16 judges. Out of those 16 judges in the 5 counties, 2 of them are female. We used to have 1 female judge in Stevenson County, which you all may know, Teresa Urson. She retired in 2014. So it's been 8 years since we've had a female judge here in this town. And actually, I don't like to bring the Republican Democrat all into this, but we have never had a Democrat female judge in the history of Stevenson County.
All right. How would you prepare yourself as a judge to handle cases that would be maybe unfamiliar areas of the law to you? So many different things come a judge's way. How would you go about preparing yourself for that?
Well, I find myself rather unique because I've covered a lot of different backgrounds in areas of law. I've always taken cases where I can get in the courtroom and I have that experience being there and watching other attorneys do their work as well. So because I have such a wide background, there's not much areas of law that I've never covered in court. So like I said, my position is rather unique that I do have that background. A lot of attorneys that may get elected may only have come from the state attorney's office and did criminal law their entire time. They may have come from a private practice, so they did maybe civil work. So I have that background with a wide range of experience. So I don't see me have, and I can't say that, obviously not every attorney knows everything all the time. We always have to look things up. So there will be a little bit of research and background I might have to do, but I feel like I'm equipped to handle any courtroom that I maybe have to handle.
All right. If you became aware of unethical conduct on the part of a trial advocate in a case in which you were presiding over, how would you handle that? And do you believe judges should be required to report attorney misconduct?
Actually, I get all the weird cases in Stevenson County. It's always, I'm the first person to experience something. So it's funny you asked this question because I've been a part of that as well. I was representing a client and we were it was in the family court, and it ended up that the opposing counsel, which was also local counsel, but the funny part was the client this other client, the opposing counsel, showed up with co-counsel and said, I'm related to this individual and she's going to help the other counsel do her case. So we actually met in chambers, the other attorney and this so-called relative that was an attorney. And I found out days later through my client, they did some research that she had been charged with a felony and been to prison before for impersonating an attorney. So we had to, obviously it was my duty as an attorney to turn this in. I told the judge and we did have to submit that to the Illinois State Bar and they pursued this individual.
Okay. The last question, if you observed a party in your courtroom being poorly represented by an unprepared or ineffective lawyer, how would you handle that situation as a judge?
Well, that's a tough question. I think we are pretty fortunate here in Stevenson County and we don't have that issue so much. I suppose it could be a problem at some point in time. But I think you would have to do your best to try to, do something to maybe help that individual, maybe that wasn't represented, or perhaps talk to the opposing counsel and somehow, communicate with that person. But I think, you would definitely have to maybe do something to make sure that person was adequately represented by the attorney that they had, or try to correct it in some way.
Okay, well, that's the 5 questions. You now have an opportunity for a 1-minute closing statement.
So I feel it is important to elect a judge who's going to reflect the people that they serve. I've talked about my background experience. If you get my cards over in the back there, it has all my information on it as far as my background, my affiliation, my professional associations, and the volunteer work that I do in this community. I've invested in my community. I've purchased a building and I've had a successful business, and that's because of all of you individuals that, that I've been able to represent and have a very good practice going. So you want to elect a judge that can deliver justice fairly and impartially. Everyone needs to be treated with dignity and respect. I feel I have all these qualities, and I've been voted #1 attorney for best in the region here in Stevenson County. That's going to come out in the Journal Standard on October 16th. I was voted because of you guys. So with your vote, we can win the election in November 8th, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Another scene change. We're going to have the state Senate candidate, Mr. Pedraza. Before I sit down. All right, well, Mr. Pedraza is running for state Senate in the 45th Legislative District. So, Mr. Pedraza, you have a 1-minute opening statement.
Thank you so much, sir. I am here because of a moral obligation I feel to provide an alternative to the candidate that I'm contesting. I'm an Illinois boy, dyed and true, spent my entire life in Illinois, attended school in Quincy, Illinois, Quincy University, Southern Illinois University, spent time at the University of Illinois in Chicago working on a doctorate degree. So what is this moral obligation that's all about here? One of which is to participate in a debate like this. 2, to celebrate the fact that you are all here. You came here with good intentions. You followed the rules to get here. And the third is to honor the kids that I so and you so value so much. And those kids start with children who have given their lives for us. Emmett Till, Denise McNair, Carol Robertson, Cynthia Wesley, Abby Mae Collins,
All right.
okay?
Thank you. The first question is climate change is beginning to affect various aspects of life in Illinois in both urban and rural areas. What do you see as appropriate legislative responses to the continuing changes in our Midwestern climate?
As an industrial hemp grower presently and past manager and grower of wine grapes, having attended numerous seminars at Iowa State University, Southern Illinois University, University of Illinois, University of Wisconsin. One of the main contributing factors is a lack of conservation farming. And there's easy ways to promote and to incorporate that. And there's lots of research about it, one of which is the extraordinary research that was done at Iowa State University called prairie strips. And that has been duplicated and replicated in Wisconsin and some areas of Illinois.
All right. Second question, compromise with the opposing side seems to be more and more difficult. What is your position on working across the aisle to get legislation passed to benefit the state of Illinois?
Benefiting the state of Illinois can be defined in a lot of different ways. So from the viewpoint of somebody who has lived in Illinois his entire life and has lived in Southern Illinois and has experienced directly what poverty like is there, lived in Western Illinois and seen how the employment degradation has occurred because of the moving out of manufacturing. Compromise is difficult, but it's there to seek out. And the main issue, the main challenge is to determine what people's needs are and get away from their ideology and get something done.
All right. How do you plan to advocate for our area to access state and federal funds to benefit our county's needs?
Well, I've been an advocate for passenger rail for the past 10 years and have done presentations at the Winnebago County Board, at the Joe Davies County Board, and at the Lena City Council, the Warren City Council. Have never had the opportunity to come here because from my experience, there's always been a pushback. And there are people in this community that want to revive passenger rail, but there's never, my experience is there's never been any political support from the county nor the mayor's office. So that's one way, revival of passenger rail.
All right. How would you go about attracting the next generation of community members to be more active and involved in our part of the state?
That goes to education, and it to bring up make a connection to an earlier point. The question related to engaging the minority community in increasing the employment of minority people in law enforcement, for example. You all have to tell me, do you have a 2-year associate arts degree in corrections at this community college? If you don't, you might be needing to think seriously about that and to invite seniors in high school to participate in that connection.
All right. Now, last question. If your party's caucus agenda is at odds with your district's best interests, who wins, the party or the constituents?
There is some cultural issues related to this, okay? One of which is that there's a perceived tension between urban and rural America and middle America. And I see the needs of people in urban America and people in this district as being very similar. They're just defined differently.
All right. Well, you have an opportunity now for a 1-minute closing statement.
Okay, I'll get back to my introductory statement by including the children from Uvalde Elementary School in Texas, Columbine High School in Colorado, Oxford High School in Michigan, Parkland High School in Florida, and Sandy Hook Elementary School. My whole life has been focused on and devoted to working with individuals, adolescents, children in a variety of different capacities. I worked at a Maryville Academy, a center and a school that essentially provides housing and education for throwaway kids. So I have an extraordinary breadth of experience, and one of those focuses in my entire life has been the viability of education and mental health and children and family services.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I believe that concludes the event. We'll invite all the candidates to kind of stand up and gather around. And if you'd like to chat with them, you can. And thank you all for coming on behalf of all of the sponsors. I guess Ms. Cook is going to say some words on her own. That's fine.
Thank you. I just want to thank you all again for coming, but also to recognize Mr. Winker's efforts here as our moderator. What an excellent job he did. And to also thank the two coordinators of the forum for tonight. They've done so much work behind the scenes, Jennifer Kanoski and Pat Norman. So we really want to thank them. I hope you are inspired to get out the vote, to do some research perhaps on some of the candidates who weren't here. And remember that you're looking for supporting democracy by giving your vote to those candidates who reflect the values that you feel are important to our country. The saying that we have on some of our literature out there is, remember that democracy is not a spectator sport. So we all need to get involved and do our share. So thank you again for coming, and feel free to have a visit afterwards and pick up some more literature.